Electroculture is a great new gardening technique that makes plants grow larger and healthier. It does this by helping plants get nutrients from the soil without using extra fertilizers. At least that's what the internet claims. Now, electroculture is really easy to try in your home garden. You can make the devices yourself with a bit of wire and some sticks, or you can buy some pre-made ones. But the question we have to ask is, does this work? And that's what we're going to look at in this program. What is electroculture? The term electroculture is used very broadly to include both passive approaches, where metal objects are stuck in the ground, and active approaches, where electricity or other forms of energy are applied to plants or soil. The most common method used by gardeners is the passive one, which will be the focus of this program. The method makes use of the natural electromagnetic fields already in your garden to boost soil fertility and stimulate plant growth. It doesn't require any complex wiring or expensive equipment. You can probably use the stuff that you already have lying around the house. Instead of a power source, you use Earth's natural energy forces. There are numerous ways to set up your system, and many are discussed online or in the book called Electroculture for Beginners. In short, you take some copper wire, wrap it around a pole or cone to form a spiral, which is called the electroculture antenna. The antenna is then inserted into the soil near your plants, and the magic happens all on its own. How does electroculture work? Explanations of how electroculture works tend to be very vague, but they go something like this. Copper wire plays a crucial role in electroculture gardening due to its excellent electrical conductivity. When partially buried in soil, the copper wire creates a conductive pathway that allows the flow of natural electromagnetic energy. This energy interacts with the plant's root system, stimulating root growth and nutrient absorption. Let's analyze this. Copper is an excellent conductor of electricity. That is why we use it in much of our electrical wiring. Does copper also conduct electromagnetic energy? Coiled copper can create an electromagnetic field when electricity passes through it, but it does not conduct the field. In fact, copper is the preferred metal for shielding against electromagnetic radiation. What about the energy that interacts with plant roots? Which energy is that? Is it the electromagnetic field energy or the electricity that is being conducted by the copper? It is not clear. Is the electrical energy flowing up or down the wire? I thought the electricity originated in the soil and flowed up. In that case, how could it react with plant roots? If you read the various explanations as to how electroculture works, you are immediately struck by the fact that none of them are complete explanations or make perfect sense. Granted, they do include some scientific facts, like the fact that copper conducts electricity, but the whole explanation is not logical. Okay, but just because garden writers have difficulty explaining how it works doesn't mean electroculture doesn't work. Is electroculture a new discovery? A lot of the discussions in gardening circles make it sound as if this is a new discovery, but that is far from the truth. The first scientist who noticed the effects of electricity on vegetation was Abinole back in 1749. He claimed that the technique resulted in faster seed germination and quicker movement of water and minerals from roots to the rest of the plant. Other scientists also looked at electroculture from the 1920s to the 1940s, and then interest died away, mostly because the scientific evidence for it never materialized. The technique was popularized by Justin Christoflo, who published the first book on electroculture in the 1920s, and you can still get an electronic copy of his book online. He developed a special electroculture device and claimed it was used all over Europe and Canada with great success. If it was so successful, why is it not used today? In his book, Christoflo describes how the device should be used. The apparatus must be firmly placed on a post at least 20 feet from the ground, with the horizontal pointer pointing directly magnetic south and the perpendicular pointer to the sky. By contrast, today's devices are stuck in the ground and can face in any direction. Maybe that is why modern versions don't work very well. What does electroculture do in the garden? It is my experience that the validity of a technique usually correlates with the number and diversity of the claims. The more diverse the claims, the less likely it is that any of them are true. Electroculture has lots of claims, including better plant growth, enhanced nutrient absorption, fewer pests and diseases. The magnetic field repels pests. Improved movements of nutrient ions in soil, improved water uptake by plants, interferes with the reproduction of certain pests, improves photosynthesis and plant metabolism, makes plants more resistant to drought, heat, and cold, reduces the need for fertilizer. None of the gardening articles I looked at provided any references to support these claims. I didn't even find anecdotal data. So what does the science say? Plants do use electrical signals for a variety of reasons. A review of some of these systems does not mention electroculture or electromagnetic field. There are a couple of scientific reviews that have looked at older research, and there are some older experiments where electricity is applied to plants with some claimed benefits. Almost all of these studies provide only anecdotal information based on lab or greenhouse work. Scientists are actively looking for ways to improve plant growth and yield. If they believed that electroculture was a possible solution, there would be a large number of research projects testing the effect of copper antennas in agricultural fields. I didn't find a single one. So does electroculture work? Well, scientists have been looking at it for 200 years, and they really haven't found any positive evidence that it works. Now, if you take electricity or magnetic fields and you apply them to plants, there might be some benefits, but so far the benefits have not been great enough to apply to an agricultural situation. Making copper devices for your own garden won't harm the plants, and if you enjoy it, go ahead and give it a try. But I ask you to do one thing. Before you report your results online and tell people how great it is, do these 3 things. Do enough replica. Use a proper control. Measure something and document the results. If you don't do these 3 things, then your results are just anecdotal information, and that's not even worth the screen that it's displayed on. Happy gardening.